Warrior Cats novellas. Aside from our girl Mapleshade, they aren't discussed anywhere close to as often as the main series books. The novellas were originally ebook exclusives, a third of the length of a normal book, each giving a select character more time to shine. Perhaps a way to sort of nudge fans of the series to lean more into digital books, as selling downloads has a much higher profit margin than having to pay for shipping and manufacturing of a physical book, and they had such a good hook to introduce us to the concept, bringing Hollyleaf back from the dead. It may not seem like such a big deal to fans today, as you're all spoiled long before you read that far, but bringing back such a fan favorite a couple of years after we thought she was crushed under rocks? It was super exciting. It just immediately created so much interest in the Forgotten Warrior, and by extension the Last Hope, and for Hollyleaf to not just come back, but also receive this whole elaborate novella of what happened while she was gone, and how she even survived. They could not have chosen a better way to start off novellas, which is exactly why the next couple of choices were very confusing. Misty Star's Omen? The novelty of the first RiverClan book was already taken by Crooked Star's Promise, and Misty Star fans are very few. Also, it's very misleading to have Misty Star as the title character, as the story is mostly about Mothwing. In Cloudstar's Journey, as fun as the concept of the secret 5th clan was, we were getting absolutely overwhelmed by SkyClan content by this point, and the concept of it being way in the past felt unimportant when there was another book that was way further in the past coming out in just a couple months, and the casual fan wouldn't even know Cloudstar. Not a great choice. Their plans to keep these ebook exclusive was abandoned by summer of 2013, with the paperback compilation, The Untold Stories. So the digital exclusivity was only a time thing for the original 9 novellas. They all came to paperback. But in 2017, they dropped the time exclusivity too, releasing the compilations in paperback the same exact day as the digital release, for the remainder of the novella compilations. The paperbacks were probably just selling a lot better than the ebooks. I think when a large portion of your audience is children, it's always going to be hard to push digital books on them, especially as Kindles fell out of fashion and people just started reading books on smartphones and tablets. Trying to make a child read a book on the same device that can watch YouTube or play Minecraft? Yeah, kind of a hard sell. I think getting children to read, especially in this more digital age, is very reliant on physical books. Children are very easily distracted, so whether it's schools or just parents trying to get them to read more, physical books are just way more effective in keeping their focus on reading. Though, dropping the ebook exclusive plan did not stop the publication of novellas at all. The 12 most recent novellas would be released this way: April 2017, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Very consistent for a while there. The gap in 2018 could be explained by the fact that Victoria Holmes was writing them and she retired, so the next primary novella author, Clarissa Hutton, would need time for the transition and to really learn the Warrior Cats writing style. But there is another gap now. 2022 and 2023, we have nothing. So what happened to Warrior Cats novellas? Why are they gone? An official statement from a Q&A on the Warrior Cats website says novellas are on indefinite hiatus because their creative team had to put their focus on graphic novels. But I don't buy that. There were a solid 2 years where they published both a graphic novel and a novella collection. No problem. Warrior Cats are best-selling books. They can hire more people if they needed to. I think the real answer is not that they're unable to publish novella collections, it's that publishing novella collections isn't profitable enough. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I want to speculate on why they failed. First, I think fundamentally, this is stupid. Tales from the Clans, Shadows of the Clans, Legends of the Clans, Path of a Warrior's Spirit, A Warrior's Choice. The names and covers are too similar. You put a novella collection on a shelf, the average buyer will legitimately not be able to tell if it's a new one or not. Having 7 of these things might be more than they ever needed. The main series books are numbered and often changing cover composition from arc to arc. Most super editions have a title character that is widely recognizable by fans of the books, but the novellas have the same cover composition every time, and the title characters lean more into the minor, less recognizable cats, with their names less visible on the cover. They're just being set up to fail. And a strange choice made when it came to publishing the 4 most recent of the novella collections is to do them all in April, on the exact same day as a main series book. Out of 12 months in a year, only 4 of them had yearly Warrior Cats releases at the time Novella collections stopped coming out. April and November are main series, September is the Super Edition, and June is the graphic novel. Yet for the 5th book, they decided to overlap? By placing it with the main series book in April, there just isn't going to be as much attention on it due to it being overshadowed. Though I do think I know why they did it. They probably thought novellas weren't very interesting, and no one would want to make a trip to the bookstore specifically for the release of one. By putting it with a main series book, people are already at the store and can be upsold because they might as well get both releases while they're there. And if that's not the case, maybe just shipping them at the same time is cheaper. As I already said, the novellas are mostly minor character focused. The target market for them is superfans. Superfans are the ones knowledgeable enough to know these similar titles are indeed different books, and to give attention to the books despite them being released the same day as a bigger book. And I think Warrior Cats is big enough that even a novella collection with mediocre performance could still turn some profit. It's not a big production like a TV show or movie. They're just paying authors that were already part of their staff prior to being contracted to write the book. But at this point, I don't think that small profit is worth it for them anymore. We have to think about profit margin here, or the percentage of revenue that is profit. Even if the novellas sold just as well as the main series books, they don't, but even if they did, they are sold as paperbacks, which the standard price they use for paperback releases is currently $10, while main series is currently sold at $20 base price at launch, for a hardcover. A new hardcover is twice the price of a new paperback book. I don't have any numbers for manufacturing costs, as obviously I don't work at a book factory, but for most books, you'll find way more profit for the thing that costs twice as much. Let's say manufacturing was $4 and $10 per unit. Even though this situation would be more than twice as expensive for the hardcover, the amount left over to cover management, writing, distribution, and marketing cost would be $6 for the paperback and $10 for the hardcover. So more for the hardcover. And these are just random numbers, and I went generously low on the paperback manufacturing cost, because usually hardcover will not even cost twice as much to manufacture. So let's say it was $6 and $10. Even worse for the paperback sales. That's why most books start with hardcover and roll out paperback versions around a year later. Because people who want the books most will not wait a year, and you'd rather sell a premium product than a cheap one. All Warrior Cats books follow this, except for the novellas and graphic novels. And the graphic novel paperbacks are still $6 more expensive than the usual paperback price due to color pages, or even a crazy $15 more expensive for the dedicated hardcover enjoyer. So essentially, novellas have the least room for profit out of any Warrior Cats release by default because the Warrior Cats team decided to only release them as paperbacks. Now you could say, why don't they just print novellas as hardcovers then? Well, I think they're just afraid to take that risk. If novellas are barely selling at $10, they would sell even worse at $20. And then at that point, the company might lose money trying to print them. It's just unsustainable. The Warrior Cats team's main focus is selling books that are as expensive as possible. Here are the base prices for all their brand new books in 2023. A Starless Clan books, $20 hardcover. River Star Super Edition, $21 hardcover. Brightheart graphic novel, $25 hardcover, or $16 paperback. Oh, and they're releasing an expanded Ultimate Guide this year that is a whopping $27. A $10 barely make any profit and have to discount it very soon book just doesn't complete this picture. You might like Daisy, I like Daisy, but Daisy isn't keeping this company afloat. Why should they use resources on Daisy when they can put their effort into products that actually have decent returns? If people had jumped on board back when they were trying to make them digital exclusive, we'd probably still have them, as digital has great profit margin due to lack of manufacturing. The fact that they turned their original goal of higher profit margins into lower profit margins is a good enough sign that novellas are dead weight for the company. Whether or not Warrior Cats novellas ever return is entirely dependent on whether or not the Warrior Cats team wants to take on that risk again. But for the time being, they are staying far away from it. As fun as some of those little stories are, we clearly didn't buy enough of them to motivate the Warrior Cats team to make more. As I said in the beginning, the only cat from novellas we talk about a lot is Mapleshade, and Warrior Cats just hasn't been able to repeat that. They were a real treat to the hardcore Warrior Cats fans, but unfortunately the hardcore Warrior Cats fans is a very small market. So goodbye Novellas, you had a good run. Alright, bye everyone!